Hey everyone, Sean Pearce, President and CEO of Dental Peers, Canada's longest running group purchasing organization for dentists in private practice here in Canada, making sure that those dentists that want to stay private get some of the price advantages that our larger DSO friends are able to get. So, always here looking out for dentists in private practice. And as part of that service today, I am bringing you one of the partners we work closely with. Danielle Myers from Palladium Insurance. Danielle, how are you doing today?
Excellent. How you doing, Sean?
Enjoying the sunny, warm weather that we're getting. This feeling that spring, summer, come on, bring it on, bring it on. I'm ready. All right. To give you everyone a little bit of understanding as to why I'm bringing Danielle with us today, because Danielle, as I said, works for Palladium Insurance. She is a commercial insurance broker, been doing it for 11 years or so, give or take. And as a result, she's had a lot of time to accumulate a lot of knowledge, and specifically working with Palladium and their dentisure program, a lot of knowledge that is very pertinent to the dental world that maybe your commercial broker who isn't so focused on the dental world, maybe they might not fully understand. So Danielle's been working with dentists for a lot of years. She gets the business and she knows how to make sure that you are going to be protected. And we wanted to talk a little bit about some of those aspects of insurance today, didn't we, Danielle? Because we want to make sure nobody is left uncovered.
That's it. We want to make sure everybody's informed and understands what they need.
100%. So, there's so many aspects of doing that, but there's one that, that I kind of want to address right off the bat today that maybe, dentists kind of know about, but maybe don't still, despite the issue being around for a lot of years, aren't fully grasping everything about it. And that's the world of those nasty cyber people that want to get us through our computers, cyber criminals, those nasty, nasty folks. Why what's going on? Dentists, why should they get cyber insurance?
So, dental practices today are highly digital. You've got your patient records, you've got x-rays, billing, insurance claim, everything is stored electronically. So, this makes them a prime target for cyber attacks. The purpose of the cyber insurance is really to help protect the practice financially and operationally if something goes wrong, like a data breach or a ransomware attack.
Yeah, and like I can kind of recall, watching the evolution of this aspect in the industry, in the profession, right? I can remember attending events, ooh, 15 or so years ago when we were just kind of getting a dentist getting hacked and stuff like that, and people were just kind of starting to talk about it. And I think the attitude back then is, I mean, I'm small potatoes. I'm not a big business. Why is anyone going to come after me? Is that still a problem, that kind of an attitude? Are you seeing that still amongst a lot of dentists today?
I do hear it. It is pretty common that, I'm a smaller clinic. I don't feel that I could be targeted, but really it tends to be the smaller healthcare providers like dental offices that are targeted because they typically tend to have weaker security than, say, for example, a medical facility like a hospital. But they still hold valuable personal and health data. Those patient records can be more valuable than credit card information on the black market.
Well, and I think that's the big thing for dentists to kind of get their head around is that unlike so many other business, even if it's a larger corporate entity or something like that, how many of those larger corporate entities are going to have healthcare information, whether it's private insurance that you might have through an employer, in some cases, even perhaps some of your public records in terms of healthcare. What are your conditions? All this information about you, your name, address, your obviously your credit card information, like anything that a cyber criminal could want to establish a fake identity, they're going to get it from a dental practice, aren't they?
Well, that's it. And the thing is that there are multiple different ways that these incidents can occur. And some of the ones that we see in dental practices are like ransomware attacks, where they lock access to patient files, phishing emails, which happens in many lines of work, where staff unknowingly accidentally give away access, data breaches, so like unauthorized access to patient information. And that right there, I mean, you have a due diligence to inform your patients if their files have been hacked. And even the cost to do that, the remediation, it can be very expensive. And that's another thing that gets covered under a cyber policy. And lastly, funds transfer fraud. So fake payment instructions, you name it, we've seen it.
And you sort of covered my next question a little bit without me even having to ask it. And that was was going to talk about, like what are some of the most common cyber incidents that you're seeing and experiencing in the dental world? But I don't know if there's anything to add to that. You pretty much answered that question without me having to verbalize it. So I'm just going to jump right into where I wanted to go next and sort of say, okay, I've been hacked, whether it's ransomware, phishing, who knows what happened. I've been hacked. Danielle, help me. What am I doing now? What's next?
Yeah, so a lot of things can happen all at once. You could lose access to your patient files and scheduling systems. So obviously, that right there impacts your ability to function. You could face privacy breach notification requirements. There could be regulatory fines. Your patients could lose trust because their personal information has been leaked. The practice may need to shut down temporarily if it physically cannot function. So cyber insurance is really meant to help cover the costs and provide that expert support to manage those situations.
So I've got a patient who's really upset, decides they want to sue me or something like that for breach of privacy. Is my cyber insurance going to cover that, or do I need anything over and above your typical cyber insurance policy for that?
So this is covered under the policy, so the privacy breach notification section. So we have like a remediation cost, which will help with the cost to be able to notify your patients. I mean, it used to be that you'd mail things out; everything is sent electronically now, but they may also choose to mail, and the costs associated with that can add up. Whatever needs to be done to help with the branding and making sure that everything has been set out properly, that's where we're guided for.
Now, I think there's sort of an important aspect to think about as well with respect to this. Dentists in a lot of cases might sort of look at it and go, oh, I don't really need this. I've got my basic commercial policy that's going to cover me for business interruption. If I'm shut down, I'm good to go. I can just claim under my business interruption based on that. But that's not always the case now, is it?
No. So actually, most policies have what's called a cyber incident exclusion, and that is under business interruption. So with business interruption under most commercial policies, there needs to be a direct physical loss by an insured peril, which would be fire, sewer backup, flood, windstorm, what have you. Those are physical, direct physical. Now, when it comes to cyber, it's a completely different scenario. So you would not necessarily have that coverage under your business interruption if you have a cyber related loss, especially if that incident exclusion is on your policy, which is why we want to make sure that our clients are prepared with a robust, standalone, comprehensive cyber policy.
And I mean, let's face it, yes, even if we could say, sure, fine, you can get cyber or you can get business interruption for this cyber event, but there's still so many other aspects of expenses and potential loss under a cyber claim that would have nothing to do with business interruption. So no matter what, you're not going to be adequately protected if you think that you can just rely on a business interruption clause, right?
Exactly. I mean, you have your data breach response costs, legal notification, creditor monitoring, ransomware payments and recovery, cyber extortion, liability protection if patients sue you, and then there's IT forensic and crisis management. So there's a lot of different factors that kind of play into where a loss can occur, and this policy is specifically outlined to cover those facets. It's not just one specific coverage; it is outlined based on what type of incident may occur.
And I don't think dentists necessarily fully appreciate the actual costs associated with being hacked or anything like that. I mean, I can remember 20 odd years ago with our basic commercial insurance program that we had through the Dental Peers group. Was really cool. Our broker came up with this cute little $20,000 add-on, no additional premium to be paid. You'd get $20,000 of cyber insurance just automatically added on. And 20 years ago, that, I think kind of covered what we thought was going to be needed because I don't think we appreciated the full extent of the damage that a cyber crime could wind up impacting on a practice. But it's changed now. The coverage, let's just say $20,000 in coverage, probably isn't going to cut it now.
Yeah, it's very common that it's not until a loss occurs that you realize what the cost amounts to. So in that instance, like most of our policies started off with the $25,000 privacy breach coverage for the privacy breach notification, the breach response, the legal, the notification, the creditor monitoring. But we realized soon that once a cyber incident occurred, that was not nearly enough. So we have been recommending limits starting as low as 100,000 for cyber liability and as high as a million or 2 million, depending on the size of your office, depending on your revenue. The larger the office, the more revenue, the more exposure. So it's making sure that you understand why we're offering this product and why it's tailored to you based on your needs.
And sometimes one of the other mistakes that I see some practices make is that, look, I've got a great IT company looking after my system. They've put in all the bells and whistles that I need to protect my practice. So if there's any sort of an issue, they're going to protect me. They'll be liable. I can look to them to help cover me with respect to anything that happens on a cyber crime situation. But doesn't always work that way, right?
No, it's quite the misconception. A lot of I hear it all the time. I have dentists tell me all the time I've got a robust and strong IT team, and that's amazing. I think that it's great that they're going to be there to provide to help you prevent issues, but they're not taking on the financial risk. If a breach happens, that responsibility and cost falls on the dental practice, and the point of cyber insurance is to fill that gap.
Exactly. And I'm not saying anything to dissuade anyone from going out and investing in a good cyber team, a good IT team, somebody that really knows their stuff and can help perhaps reduce your risk of falling victim to a cyber criminal. But the reality of the situation is they cannot possibly control for everything, which is why they are not going to try to say, we can provide you with any sort of guarantees and warranties that you will not be a victim of cybercrime. They can't control what your employees might click on. All kinds of variables are going to come into play. So you really need to make sure that you've got this cyber insurance coverage. And, I mean, everyone's going to be like, oh, there's another expense, more money I got to spend. What's it cost?
So it really depends on. So the information that we take to be able to get you a quick quote would be just the named insured, the address, the revenue, number of staff, and then your website. And really, it comes down to the revenue that you're making for the value, because obviously, the more you make, the more exposure there is. So a base policy can start at $1,100, taxes and fee in. Depending on the size of your clinic and your needs, it could be 2 or 3 grand annually. But realistically, it's peace of mind. It's knowing that if something happens, that's there. And given that our world is going digitally and has been, it's the best thing you can do to protect yourself.
And I mean, let's face it, we're all seeing more and more of these. So, I'm getting more and more texts coming on my phone. It's sort of like, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago next week. Let's meet up for dinner. It's like, well, good for you. You're going to be in Chicago. I'm in Ottawa. I'm not going to be in Chicago. So, but more and more often I'm getting these texts. We've got all the AI bots are out there, working overtime, working harder than any human ever could before, trying to find gaps in your system that they can exploit. So you need to make sure that you've got something in place. You need to obviously try to defend yourself, have that robust IT department looking after you, but understand, they are always sort of trying to play catch up to some extent. New technologies come on, they have to adapt. You still have to protect yourself. So, Danielle, if somebody is looking to get some more information about the cyber insurance providers and coverage that they need, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me directly, Danielle at palladiuminsurance.ca. As I mentioned before, we only need a few things to be able to get you a quote, and then we can have a Zoom call. I can meet you in person if you're in Ottawa or in the Ottawa area, and we can sit down and review the options together.
Excellent. And that's the great thing too, for both existing members of Dental Peers and maybe other people that might be interested in learning more about the Dental Peers Palladium Insurance team working together. We can cover you across Canada.
That's it, exactly. We're nationwide and we're willing to work with all healthcare, dental, and medical practitioners. And we just want to make sure that you're properly protected. That's our goal.
Excellent. All right, Danielle, I'm going to make sure that your contact information is going to appear in the comments below when this gets posted. But I just wanted to thank you so much for being here and sharing some of your knowledge on the world of cyber insurance because it's the reality of the world we're living in today.
That's it. I mean, AI is used in so many things digitally for our dental clients. That's another asset that we need to consider for cyber. And we just want to protect everybody and make sure they have what they need so that they can do the best at their jobs.
All right, everyone. This is why we bring our partners on so that they can explain what added value they bring to the Dental Peers membership and the services they can provide. So, Danielle, we appreciate your taking time to share your information and knowledge with our members today.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this installment of Quick Hits. I will be back in the future with the mystery guest. I never tell you who it's going to be because I always like to keep you guessing, but someone's going to be coming. Someone's going to be here in that chair, well, the digital chair that Danielle's occupying today. Until then, I hope everyone has a great day. If you're getting some great summer weather like we are today, enjoy it and have a good time. All right. Take care, everybody.